The White Van. Saturday night, I attended the symphony with Dr. Curious. She thought I needed some improvement in the cultural department. Actually, I need a lot of improvement, but she thought this would be a good first step. Well, I enjoyed the experience immensely. Best sleep I'd had in years. They played music by Liszt, Chopin, Debussy, and some dude named Cacciatore. I woke up for that part. It was pretty lively stuff. The only downside for me was that Dr. Curious kept poking me in the ribs and accusing me of snoring. Stop snoring. I don't snore. But what I really want to talk about is what happened after the concert. Now, there were a lot of people there, 2,000 or 3,000. I never knew we had so many music lovers in these parts. So with all those people there was also lots of cars, hundreds of them, and it took some time for the lot to clear. And that's when we saw the woman and observed her strange behavior. The first thing we noticed was her age. Most of the people at the concert were boomers, but this woman was in her 20s. The next thing we noticed was her dark clothing. Jeans, black high-top sneakers, black bunny hug. Okay, black hoodie. For some reason out here in Saskatchewan, a hoodie is called a bunny hug. A bunny hug. Don't ask why, just is. Well, my first thought was BEK, black-eyed children. But we could see the woman clearly, and she appeared to have normal eyes and features, albeit with a bit of a goth look, pale skin and raven black hair. But it was her behavior that held our attention. She appeared to be looking for something. At first, we thought she might be looking for her car, as sometimes people forget where they parked. Something I've never done. Of course. We watched as she walked from one end of the lot and back again, before returning in the direction of the concert hall. Maybe she was looking for someone, instead of a car. By now, most of the cars had gone, and one of the few remaining vehicles was an old white and rather battered van. Now, that caught my attention, as a few years back, every story you heard about an abduction or kidnapping seemed to feature a white van. The serial killers, Lawrence Bittaker, and Ray Norris, were said to have used a white van to kidnap their murder victims, although actually it was silver gray. They called it Murder Mac, but I digress. As a result, I couldn't help but wonder if the woman and her odd behavior had any connection to the white van. Sure enough, after a minute or so, the goth woman came hurrying back across the mostly empty lot and got in at the passenger side of the white van. It drove off quickly, and I decided to follow. The van headed across the lot towards the front of the concert hall, as if it was going to pick someone up. I headed after it, but pedestrians and other vehicles kept blocking my path, so that by the time we arrived at the entranceway, the white van was already pulling away and heading downtown. I decided to tail it, hoping to get close enough to get the van's license number without being observed. Alas, I didn't succeed. I think they knew I was following them. Eventually, they shook me off in one of the poorer neighborhoods. So I reluctantly admitted defeat and went home, hoping they didn't get a real good look at me. Now, this was 3 days ago. Since then, I've searched the local media for news of any missing persons, but nothing. But there have been other developments. Leaving the grocery store the other night, I saw a white van that looked quite similar to the one I had seen the night of the concert. It was parked close to my car, almost right beside it. And last night, at 2 a.m., I observed a similar white van come creeping down our street, only to stop and sit idling in front of our house for nearly 15 minutes. What is going on? What have I stumbled into? What have we stumbled into? My car was in the driveway and clearly visible. I've hidden it in the garage now, but I fear it's too late. They know where we live. But what do you think, dear listeners? Have we stumbled upon some sort of nefarious activity? Or am I just being paranoid? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'll let you know if anything else happens, provided I can. Cheers from Warren, who should have listened to a warning to the curious. White van 2. Hello? It's never a good thing when your phone rings in the middle of the night, especially if it's the police. We have a young man in custody here who says he's your nephew. Matt? What on earth has he done? He flagged down a patrol car on Queen Street. Oh, that's just around the corner from here. He was delirious and gave an incoherent account of having been attacked. Does Matt do drugs or abuse alcohol? What? Wait a minute. Matt? No, he's a good kid. I don't think he even drinks. Okay, but can you come down to the station right away? We'll release him into your custody if you can come down right now. Naturally, I went. I found Matt slumped on a bench in the booking office, his head in his hands. He wasn't charged with anything, and the police simply wanted to ensure he got home safe and sound. What happened, Matt? I started to say, as he turned towards me and grabbed my arm so hard, he almost pulled me off my feet. Uncle, you gotta listen to me. Those men, you've gotta listen. All right, Matt, all right. I'm listening. It was the white van. These guys in the white van. What? A middle-aged cop who had been listening to all this smiled and said, "He keeps talking about a white van, but the officers on patrol didn't see one." Look, Matt's a truthful guy, I told the cop, and I want to hear about this white van. But have you got any coffee? Any black coffee? Well, it turns out that cop coffee, police coffee, isn't as bad as people think it is, and after a few mugs, Matt began to sober up and make sense. So, What happened, Matt? I said again. I'd been visiting a friend, Quinn, over on Queen, and as it was such a nice night with that big bright full moon, I decided to walk home. I was going to cut across the big park over to King and then home, eh? I was just passing where the storm channel was when I heard a vehicle coming along the road behind me, and suddenly this old white van, kind of rusty like, shoots by me and pulls up to the curb. The doors flew open and these two rough-looking guys jumped out. Did you get a good look at them? No, Uncle. It happened too fast, and the one guy, the one who grabbed me, was tall and wearing a black bunny hug, so I couldn't really see his features, and the other guy was short with thick glasses and greasy hair. He's the one who stuck the hypodermic into my arm. A hypodermic? Yeah, a hypodermic, and I immediately sagged. I just heard, "Get him in the van," and then the next thing I remember is when the cops, when the police got me. I requested that Matt be immediately taken to the general hospital and examined to find out what had been injected into his arm, which the doctors at the emergency ward quickly determined to have been sister morphine, enough of it that it should have rendered him unconscious. But somehow, Matt got away. Matt was kept overnight for observation, and a strange thing happened. Around 2:00 in the morning, a male nurse confronted a strange man wandering in the corridor outside Matt's room. When the nurse wanted to know why the man was there, he turned around and walked rapidly away, vanishing before security came. The man was described as short, with thick glasses and greasy hair, dressed in work clothes. Was he one of the men from the white van? Matt was discharged in the morning, and I took him to my place, where I fed him a hearty breakfast. Have you been able to remember anything else about what happened? I said as we drank our coffee. I remember now. Trying to fight back, and I think I managed to knock the needle away. They were pulling me towards the van, but then they suddenly let me go. I think a car or something was coming by, and I think I heard one of them say something like "Doc" or "Doctor." "Doctor's gonna be pissed." They let me go, and I stumbled into the park, then stumbled out again. I think I was probably walking in circles, maybe. and that's when the cops found me. Neither of us knew what to make of this reference to a doc or doctor, but we were both concerned a man matching the description of one of Matt's assailants was skulking the hospital corridors in the middle of the night. Was he looking for Matt? Did he have some connection to the hospital? Some connection to a doctor on staff? I convinced Matt to stay with me for a few days in case the men were targeting him. We went over to his place to fetch Matt's car and clothes, and my nephew was convinced that someone had been in his apartment, although nothing had been disturbed. So, I now have a semi-permanent house guest. What did the men want? Was it robbery or human trafficking or, worse yet, human organ harvesting? Or was Matt being grabbed for an experiment? Experiments by a mad doctor? A mad scientist? What do you think, dear listeners? One thing I do know is that a number of people have disappeared locally the past year. Recently, a female university student vanished late one evening. Her car was found parked near an instant teller on Elphinstone Street. Elphinstone Street, but the young woman herself was gone. But for right now, Mad is staying here, and I'm on the lookout for an old, rusty white van. Haven't seen it yet, but stay tuned.